Welcome back. Still discussing politics on Political Roadmap with Dr. Tony Nwaka. Posters of your aspiration is beginning to flood the media, though your direction is still not clear. Many feel you'll be pushing to go to the House of Assembly, but that is not where I'm going to dwell. You've always functioned the executive arm. From your experience, what in your understanding is the Achilles heel of the representative government, or what can be done to strengthen parliamentary representation?
Well, first, let me clear the air for now. I have not, yes, I have left the PDP. I'm no longer a member of the PDP, but I'm taking my time to consult. I'm taking my time to consult to know the next line of action, to know which political party that will be receptive of my vision, of politics and public service. In due course, I'll make that known. Then two, I still have not specified the political office I'll be contesting if necessary. If necessary, I have not put that in front. Events will determine if I'll have to contest. I have it in mind to contest. I wish I could contest because I want to provide an alternative. I want to provide something different from what other people have seen about parliamentary representation. I want to give a different face to it. But then so much will have to depend on the vehicle I'll be using, the political platform I'll be using. If after putting into consideration the different dynamics at play, and it becomes necessary for me to share the idea for some other people to go, it's okay. It's part of the political compromise I talk about. But if it is such that they feel I have something to offer and they encourage me, they push me to go for what I already envision, that's a contest for an elective office, of course I will. But I have not specified. I have seen some of those posters. Some people say me, oh, the day is going for House of Assembly. No, I have not made up my mind that I'll go to House of Assembly. There was some time in the past, yeah, really, I showed some interest, but after much reflection, I thought I will have to look beyond the House of Assembly. Because when I see some of the people angling for the office now, most of them were my councillors when I was council chairman. And even the man currently there was my vice chairman when I was council chairman. And I thought people should be allowed to grow. Really, if I'm going to contest for an elective office, I may have to look beyond the House of Assembly. That is the reality for now. But as I said, I'm still consulting. Nothing is cast in stone. I have simply expressed my intentions. God has His own ways for us. God has His own purposes. If at the end of the day it becomes compelling that one may have to follow a direction not necessarily envisaged earlier, what could one do? But for me, and the vision I have, is not House of Assembly.
Speaking of your acolytes when you were the council chairman, having seen the evolution, how will you describe your relationship with them? Or because if we trace the antecedents, most of them share a little percentage of their victory and emancipation to your overwhelming support. What about you? What was the interaction with them? What sort of encouragement? How do you look at them when you see most of them evolving, pushing strong? What comes to your mind?
No, we had a fantastic team when I was the chairman of Aniocha Local Government Council. My councillors were great, fantastic representatives of their wards, and we worked as a family, every one of them. We never had a case of threatening to impeach the chairman, or there was such disagreement that people had to intervene. No, we worked as a family, and as you did observe, and again, I think that's even one of the beauties of direct primary, or should I say, what we call the open ballot, popularly known as the option A4, because we were the last set of PDP candidates that went for direct primary open ballot election in the primaries, and it gave us the opportunity to reach out to people across the communities. We were practically moving from door to door because we knew it was an election of the masses. The people will have to come out to vote, not delegates, and that approach, that experience endeared us to the people. And that is the reason you go to Aniocha South local government today, any community I go to you. Yeah, he did. In fact, it was replicated this last time when the current council chairman was going on campaign. And we accompanied him. And every community we got to, the moment I was introduced, these are people who hadn't seen me in 6 years, 7, 8, 10 years, as it were. In fact, some of them may not have even seen me since I left, as council chairman. They had not met me personally, in those communities, far-flung communities. But then they remembered how we worked with them. They remembered how we were accessible. They remembered the contributions we had to the development of, the environment, and the councillors who worked with me were part of this experience. They were part of this process, this relationship we had with the people. As a matter of fact, it was such that when some of them were even contesting as councillor, they will have my picture, then they have their own picture on their banner or their poster. Even those who eventually didn't make it as councillors. And that was because of the effort we made to ensure that we reached out to everybody. We moved from community to community. And sometimes these days when I see people who say they are contesting for election, particularly at the local government level, they are hesitant to reach out to them. They are hesitant to go to communities. They just feel, somebody somewhere is going to put down their name as a candidate. Somebody somewhere is going to write their name and deliver them. Somebody somewhere is going to say, Ogase, now they go. He's the one to go. We didn't have that experience when we contested. We moved in the night. At night, we had mosquito teams that still were moving when we had retired after the day's campaign, moving from door to door, and we touched every community, and not just once. And our own experience was peculiar in the sense that they kept postponing the election then. So we had to keep going back to the communities we had even visited before. And it is something we are enjoying today. It's something, that relationship we built with the people. At the end of the day, it is the masses that will vote. It is the people that will vote. It's so sad what we have experienced in recent times, where election results were no longer reflecting the wishes of the people. It's a sad one. But then one is happy now that it appears things are going to take a different turn with the new electoral acts. And I hope the people will realize the power that has returned to them. People will realize the power that has returned to them and protect that power as much as possible. The power is in their vote, not in what one big man is saying somewhere, not in what money that is being, bags of money that are being carried around. The power is in their vote. I hope they realize that power has been given back to them now.
Instances abound of parliamentarians competing with the executives in doling out what I'm inclined to call instruments of entitlement. Tricycles, motorcycles, freezers, and the likes, which is perceived as weaponizing poverty since it does not pay attention to the overriding expected responsibilities of the legislator. What is your description of the responsibilities of the parliamentarian?
Simply to make laws for the benefit of the people. Not to buy keke, not to construct roads. That is not their duty to construct roads. That's the duty of the executive. So when I see people struggling with the executive on the award of road contracts, it's funny. It's funny. You use your parliamentary power and authority to influence the executives to do that which your people demand. If it's road construction, all well and good. If it's poverty alleviation, youth empowerment, all well and good. But I think there's a gap that the parliamentarians will need to look at. And that is the need to have a synergy amongst them, to have a collaboration, a collective approach to projects. The popular thing is, he has a constituency project to construct 5-bedroom classroom or a health center or all that. It's okay. But the people might require something bigger than that. They might require something much more substantial, for which you will have to collaborate. You will have to go into synergy with a representative from another local government or another federal constituency, as it were, to see how, rather than expending your constituency project on that which is not likely to be of much benefit to the people. You too could pull the constituency project and do something that will benefit the two constituencies, something that will cut across the two constituencies. So those are areas they'll have to explore, and not just necessarily focusing on the little things they are putting at the different spots in their own constituency. You know, for instance, the water supply scheme could be of such a gigantic frame that you have to cut across two constituencies. The parliamentarians could do that. They could come together, you know, and explore the option, the possibility of pulling the executive to get the resources to do it from their own constituency provisions, the constituency project provisions, and so many of such. Yeah.
As I begin to call the drones back home for want of time, nepotistic inclination is beginning to gain more ground in our politics today. What are your thoughts on what people have described as genetic transfer of political powers? You have fathers transferring political powers to their daughters and sons. You have brothers transferring political powers to their sisters, and vice versa. What does that portend to our politics today?
I think it's a disturbing development. I must confess that it's quite troubling. We weren't observing it at its scale we're beginning to see now. Yeah, we are in a democratic environment. People are allowed to give expression to their democratic wishes and intentions. But a situation where the father had served and even still in service now wants the son or the daughter to run for another office at the same time. He probably will be running for one office and now pushing the daughter or son to run for another office. I don't know, but I think it's not the best in the circumstance. There must be some other of your followers who have been standing in the sun, in the rain, to ensure that you are successful in your political career. There must be someone amongst them who is equally competently suitable for that office. There must be someone else. It doesn't have to be your son or your daughter. But we're beginning to see that tendency now, you know. And as I said, it's a little troubling. It's a little troubling, even though there's nothing, you know, in democratic terms, there's nothing that prohibits, you know, such. I mean, if the people at the end of the day vote for such a candidate, that means there must be some good things about the person, you know, that have made the people to be so disposed to him or her. But I think it's not something that it's not a culture that should be promoted, because the rapidity, the intensity with which it is coming up in different locations, different constituencies. Now you see this one wants her daughter or her son or his son or to then not just. I think it's not too healthy for our politics. Give opportunity to those who have been following you too. They may not be your blood relations. Those who have been serving you. See how you can encourage them to run for offices. You know, see how you can encourage them to run for offices. It doesn't have to be you and your family. That is my own personal, my own personal opinion about this situation. I think it should not be celebrated. It should not be encouraged. Yeah, there could be peculiar, specific instances where a person may have demonstrated exceptional competence, may have demonstrated profound, capacity. Yeah, that's it. That's the word. Profound capacity in some of the assignments given to him or her in the past. And the people, having seen that, will say, oh, look, we want this man or this lady to go represent us in so and so office. Not minding that the father is somewhere else in another office. The people, strictly on the merits of the young man's capacity, competence, and qualifications, they say, okay, let us draw a way behind him to go. And it's okay. That's acceptable. But that doesn't appear to be the case in most of the things we have been observing of late. You know, it doesn't appear to be the case. But it's okay. Well, these are some of the burdens of the democratic process, as it were. We'll overcome them with time. It's an evolutionary process. It's not going to be revolutionary. It will evolve. It's evolutionary with time. Some of these contradictions and absurdities will give way.
Lastly, before I let you go, Honorable Tony, with the benefit of the just amended electoral laws, what are we looking at from the politicians, the electorates, and the people in general ahead of 2023 and beyond?
Yeah, definitely it's not going to be business as usual. But that is the truth. I mean, that is the reality that is beginning to dawn on everyone. You now have to start reaching out to the people. You want to win an election, you reach out directly to the people, campaign. Present to them what you are bringing to the table. Let the people know who you are. And if you are such that have distanced yourself from the people over time, it's unfortunate, because this is payback time. If you are such that had made yourself inaccessible, it's just unfortunate, because the time is now too short for you to begin to make amends. But for those who feel they have done well, they have nothing to fear. And for those who are even coming in as fresh aspirants into some of these offices, this is an opportunity for them to reach the people. Reach the people. Not that one big guy is going to put you in office. Get to the people and let them know you. Let them see what you have to bring, what you are bringing to the table. So it's not going to be business as usual. It's not. There will be shockers. I can assure you, there will be shockers. There will be shockers. And I just hope that the different political parties will realize the reality of the time. Will realize the new dispensation we are going into, and try as much as possible to ensure that credible aspirants are given the tickets for the different offices they are presenting. Credible aspirants, their members who, in their estimation, they know those who are credible within their fold. And not necessarily because you want to satisfy the wishes of somebody somewhere, or someone had, for pecuniary purposes, had manipulated the system. You must ensure that the will of the people prevails. If not, it's not going to be business as usual. The idea of 500,000, 800,000 votes, 1 million, my brother, that's a thing of the past. That's a thing of the past. So it's a good thing that has come, and that's the reason you see Nigerians celebrate it, because they know that the opportunity has now come for them to put in offices those they truly wish to be in offices, and not people who will get there just because they didn't go there by your vote. They have no regard for you. They have no regard for you. Their loyalty and allegiance is to the powers that brought them to office. But when they now know that, look, that market woman you used to despise, that's your neighbor, you used to drive past even when you had the opportunity to give him a lift. Those are the people now to determine your future effectively. I think our political culture will begin to change.
The established definition of structure.
No, structure is still important in every political experience. It's still important. You still need the structures of political parties to be able to reach a wider spectrum of society. You still need the structures of those. But there is no guarantee that those structures are going to abide by the wishes of one man. That is where the difference is. You need structure. Yeah, political parties should have structures. I mean, what is a political party without a structure? You should have structure. What is the structure? Your officers and members in the different, locations, different wards, different units. You should have your reach, in as extensive as possible. You should have your reach, but there's no guarantee, and that's why you still have to reach out to the people. And when I say the people, it includes the structure. It includes the members of the political parties. It includes the officers of the political parties in the different wards. Every aspirant should reach out to them. They are important. Because if you don't, and you're expecting that an instruction is going to come from somewhere. It might work in your party primaries, but in the general election, it is between you and the people.